Well, tomorrow's St. Patrick's Day. It's already here. It'll be time to celebrate St. Patrick's Day, maybe with a corned beef and some traditional Irish dishes. We're going to just probably have our regular dinner. I didn't get a corned beef made this year, but it is St. Patrick's Day, so I'll try to wear green tomorrow. Been really slamming busy here lately. Been real busy with the kids. I'm going to go in here and make a cup of tea. And wish you a happy St. Patrick's Day. I'm going to make some organic chamomile because it's too close to bedtime for me to have much of anything else. The chickens are laying eggs again. Got a few eggs today. I've got some bananas out here that I got to make some banana bread. They're good and ripe and ready to make. I'm going to change the towel. I haven't got to spring decorating yet because I've been extremely busy. This is the towels my friend picked up for me. I probably showed them to you before. My favorite bunnies call me Grammy. Well, I'm going to use bunnies for spring, and I'm going to use bunnies for Easter. So I'm going to go ahead and hang that up right there. And then when I was with my other friend, we went shopping, and we got this cute little towel right here. I think we got them at TJ Maxx. And it's got the little flower pots with the little bunny tails on them, the little bunny ears. I thought that was a cute little hand towel. So we'll put it out right along with the Grammy towel my friend gave me. Can you believe that it is already going to be spring right here before we know it? St. Patrick's Day will be tomorrow, and then 3 days later, on the 20th, it'll be the first day of spring. And the first day of spring, we'll have to see what comes along with that. Sometimes it's beautiful and sunny, and then sometimes it's really cold on the first day of spring. So we'll have to see what it brings for us. We'll wait for the water to heat up here, and then we'll make our cup of tea. I'll add a little honey to it. And I'll have to plan to go ahead and make that banana bread before those bananas get too ripe. Over the weekend, we had a sleepover, and we had a cookout and a sleepover with our little 6 grandkids. All but one could make it, but he did get to come and stay and hang out with us for a little while before, he got to enjoy the cookout, hang out with us for a little while before he had to go home. But we really enjoyed ourselves. I mean, I have 6 grandchildren. If you're new around here, then you might not realize that Donald and I have 6 grandchildren. We have a 13-year-old daughter who is on the spectrum of autism, and she also has Down syndrome. We also have a 10-year-old grandson, and then it goes down like stair steps. A 9-year-old granddaughter, an 8-year-old granddaughter, a 7-year-old grandson, and a 6-year-old grandson. So they're like stair steps. But we have 3 of each. We have 3 granddaughters and 3 grandsons. And they are our delight. We just love them to death. And we volunteered to keep them Friday night. We were grandparenting. We just wanted to spend some time with them and do something fun with them the way we used to with our kids. And believe it or not, we had a hamburger and a hot dog cookout with homemade chili and homemade slaw. And that was really good. They enjoyed it. We had baked beans and corn. So we had a delicious meal. And then 4 of us, our granddaughter that was 13, she wanted to sleep inside. So she fell asleep inside in the kids' room on the sofa there. And then the rest of us slept out on the trampoline. We had about 12 blankets and lots of pillows, and we piled up out there on the trampoline. And we just looked at the stars and everything until we got really sleepy. One of them went in after a couple of hours. He said it just wasn't for him. And then the rest of us just fell asleep out there and snoozed and woke up and it was slightly drizzling on our heads. But we did spend the whole night. So we woke up all around the same time, and I said, we made it. We made it. We slept out there all night. And so we came in, and we just had a really fun night. And then we had bacon and eggs for breakfast. So it was a wonderful sleepover. And we enjoyed it. So we were so busy having fun that I didn't get to video it. And plus, I wouldn't want to take that much video of the kids. But we just really enjoyed our sleepover. That was Friday night that we had the cookout and the sleepover, and then Saturday. And then so today is Sunday, and that was Donald and my date day. So we had our date day, and we enjoyed it. I let Donald pick the restaurants. We didn't do any shopping. We're trying to cut out some of that. I'm telling you, prices are extremely high. So we just decided to eat out on our date day and then come home and just spend a little time together. He did take me to McKay's. So we went to McKay's, and this is what I have, the books that I purchased from McKay's. I got Paula Deen's Kitchen Classics, and it's 2 of her books consolidated. It's the Lady and Sons Savannah Country Cookbook and the Lady and Sons 2. And so they are consolidated into this one version. I don't have any of Paula Deen's books, so I thought, well, I'd pick one up and just see what her book is about. So I got that one. And then I got this little book, Good Old Grits Cookbook, to see if it had any kind of by Bill Neal and David Perry. I wanted to see if it had any kind of grits recipe that I didn't already know about. I didn't get this one at McKay's. I bought this one at Sam's. It's called The Taste of Home Copycat Cookbook. I gave full price for this one, actually, because it had one recipe in here that I was really interested in. And I'll share with you what that recipe is here in just a minute. But what this Taste of Home Complete Copycat Cookbook is about is it's just taking recipes from restaurants in different places and different things, all different kinds of recipes in here from different places, and is giving you the recipe so that you can make it at home. And that way, if you want to cut out eating in restaurants, here's the Copycat Starbucks Pumpkin Bread. And then they have some of the Starbucks recipes that they've kind of copied and made so that you can make them at home. But the reason I bought this whole book is because of this right here, the Copycat KFC fried chicken recipe. And that's what I wanted. I wanted this recipe right here because, believe it or not, which I could hardly believe it, KFC has changed its original chicken recipe. It has a new original recipe chicken. And for the life of me, I can't understand why they would get rid of the original recipe, unless maybe things were just so expensive they couldn't keep up with them anymore. Because I grew up on the KFC original recipe, and we would stop and get buckets of chicken and the sides, and we would take them to Pilot Mountain, and we would climb that mountain. And that was back in the day when you didn't have to have a climbing permit to get up on the little knob of the mountain. I don't know if you're familiar with Pilot Mountain. In the Andy Griffith TV show, they called it Mount Pilot, and it's near Mount Airy. I have several paintings of it, but this here is the mountain, and that's called Pilot Mountain, and there was a little knob on it right here that you can see, and we used to climb on that little knob when I was young. My whole family would go. My dad was not afraid of heights. He was a construction worker, so he climbed on roofs and steeples, and, he just was not afraid of heights. And he would take us up there, and we would walk on that thing and walk around that mountain. And then later, after we hiked around the mountain, we would go have a picnic. And that picnic, more often than not, was KFC, Kentucky Fried Chicken, the original recipe, and sides. And that was our picnic. And we also always had a watermelon. If it was summer, we had a watermelon. If it was fall, we might have something different. But that was a familiar picnic and a family adventure that we would have as a family growing up. And so that mountain is sentimental, and KFC was sentimental because we grew up eating it. And I loved KFC's original recipe, and I could not believe that they have changed that recipe. You would have thought they would have learned from Coca-Cola and not messed with an original recipe. But I guess maybe, I don't know. I don't know if it's changed hands. I don't know after all these years. I think KFC's been, what, since 1963? And why they would change the original recipe is beyond me. Maybe it's just so expensive, or those ingredients are not easy to get. I think it has 11 spices in it. But anyway, I bought this copycat book right here so that I would have that original KFC recipe. And I bought this book from Sam's. You can see at the top it says, the fried chicken can be served hot or pulled out of the fridge the next day as leftovers. And it just tells you it's a copycat KFC fried chicken recipe. You may can get that online from the Taste of Home channel. I'm not sure. But when I was going through this book at Sam's Club, I said I had to have it because I wanted that KFC recipe. And these are the other books that I picked up today from McKay's. Donald took me there. And of course, you know, I have a lot of books and I read a lot of books. But I wanted to see what they had. And they had slim pickings. They did not have a lot of books at McKay's in the cooking book area. It was really slim. It was like a really sold out. And there were people there with their phones out who were resellers, and they were trying to see if they could buy a book at a good price and resell it at another price. And so it was a little crowded, and I had to put up with a little bit of that. But that was okay because I picked out this. I love American and Southern cookbooks. I have a collection of American and Southern cookbooks, and I didn't have this one, Taste of Home, which, you know, I love the recipes anyway. And I thought, well, I'll just pick this one up because it'll have a good American recipes in it. And then Taste of Home casseroles. Now, I've never been one to make casseroles. I know a lot of people in the South and Southern Appalachia love a good casserole. But I am more of a soup person. I'd rather have soup than I had a casserole. And the old saying is a casserole is just a soup without all the liquid. So I'm not sure. I do love casseroles, but I don't make or serve a lot of them. But I wanted that to change. So I bought this casserole book, and I thought, well, I'll just see if I can include some casseroles and maybe use some leftovers or some things out of the freezer and make some casseroles. So I picked this book up. And of course, this is Martha Stewart's Annual Recipes, and this is 2021, I think. And, you know, I love Martha Stewart. She has, you know, a beautiful style, and I enjoy making her recipes. So I picked that up, and then I got Exploring Wine. I do like to cook with wine sometimes. Donald's not so much a fan of it, but I do like to cook with it. So I picked this book up, and sometimes I'll just read them because I'm interested in them. And that was a beautiful book. I thought this one was. Let me see if I can show you the front of them. And see this one right here. Of course, I make chicken pot pies. I didn't consider a chicken pot pie a casserole, but I guess it is a form of a casserole. That's probably the only casserole I make. I might make a squash one. Oh, it's 2002. Ooh, this is a little older than I thought, but that's okay because I don't mind the age of a book. I just look at the recipes in it. And I have never been dissatisfied with Martha Stewart's recipe books. They're beautiful. They're well thought out. They have wonderful tips in them. And so I'm always one to pick up her books if I can find them at a good deal. And then this Exploring Wines, it just had a beautiful artistic cover. I just thought it was a beautiful book. And so I picked it up just to read about it and just to enjoy reading this book. If you know, I've shared with you before that I read books, and I read cookbooks just like I would a novel. I just read straight through them and familiarize myself with them. And I love to read them that way. Even if I'm not making anything out of them, I'll pick them up and read through them and just absorb some information. But this one I did buy at Sam's Club, and it's I gave full price for it. I think it was $14.95, but it was well worth it for me. And it had that KFC original recipe, copycat recipe in it, and that's why I bought this book. And I'm looking forward to this little, I don't know, I call it a pamphlet. If you got a book that's this thin, to me that's not like a book. It's more or less like a pamphlet. But I guess the people that wrote it feel like it's a book. It does say cookbook, but to me it's more like a pamphlet. But I'm used to reading some pretty thick and big books. But I love that it has grits recipes in it, and I thought, well, maybe it'll have something in here that I haven't fixed before. Like right there's a luscious peachy grits cheesecake. Nope, never made. I've never made a peachy grits cheesecake, but that sounds pretty good. I love grits. There's hominy rolls, and it's just got some history about grits in here that I found very interesting. We grew up eating grits. I love grits. Mama loves hominy. I like hominy okay, but I do love grits. Old-fashioned crumpets. I mean, it just had some interesting recipes, and I thought, well, I'd love to make them. It has some pumpkin grits in here. Let me see if there's black pepper cornbread. Ooh, I might have to make that for Donald. That's something he would love. Banana nut muffins, apple raisin muffins. I mean, yeah, just had some really good recipes in here. And then it had some pumpkin. Let me see if I can find them real quick. Pumpkin grits, and I thought, well, that'd be great to try in the fall. Of course, we eat pumpkin all year long. I've probably shared that with you before, too. A shrimp and crab loaf. That sounds good if you like seafood. And I do like seafood. Spring chicken and grits. Just had some interesting recipes in it that made me want to pick this book up. Corn grits fritters. Oh, that sounds good. Pumpkin grits. There you go. I thought, well, I'll try some pumpkin grits. Spinach and Parmesan souffle. That sounds good. Now, grits and snails, I think I'm going to pass on that one. I'm not much of an escargot eater, not much of a snail eater. But that is my book haul that I was delighted with today. That's what we did on date day today. We went out to eat, and we went to McKay's, and we just looked through a lot of the things they had there. And it seemed like they had gone up some, and they didn't have as many books in the sections that Donald and I were interested in. Now, I did want to look in the garden section. I wanted to check out the garden books, but I didn't get a chance to do it. It was so crowded in there, and by the time I went through all the cookbooks and looked through and to see, and we went through a few movies to see. Madeline still loves CDs, and my little granddaughter, my oldest granddaughter, and so we picked her up a few new movies. So we could put it in Mine's Closet. She calls the closet in there that has the CDs. She calls it Mine's Closet. And she's talking about her closet. And it's got her CDs in it. So we went and we got a few CDs so that we could add them to her closet. And she would have something new in there to try to pick from. And by the time we went through all that, I was just exhausted from being there. And I did not go by the gardening books. I did check out the art books, though. All of the famous artists, they just have big, beautiful books about them. And I kind of got lost in the artist section there for a while. Maybe if I had spent that time in the gardening section, I probably would have had more books. I probably would have bought more. I am in the process of already going through my books, so I didn't want to buy too many. Normally, I can't get out of McKay's without buying a whole shopping cart full, but I didn't do that this time. I just went through my little books that I had right here, and I was just thinking, I had picked through the free. They have a free section out in the front of the vestibule going into McKay's, and they put all the books that they don't take to sell and that nobody wanted to take back home. Like they buy used books, so people bring their books in, and then they go through them, and the ones that they don't want, they'll box up. And sometimes the people will say that they don't want them, so they'll put them out in the vestibule area in these big bins, and you can pick them out free. And I did pick out a few magazines. I got some artist magazines and a little soup book from really old, but I don't know where those are at. They're not in here. Donald probably left those in his truck, or either I forgot to get them off the bottom of the cart, and I probably don't have them. But there were a few artist magazines and a little soup book from probably, the 70s, and just some little things that was out there in that free section. I love to go through that free section because you never know what you'll find, and I found some good things that I really liked out there, some good hiking books and some different things. But I always go through that, and I don't know where those free things I picked up are. I may have left them on the bottom of the cart. But either way, if I find those, I'll share those with you in another video. I just noticed they're not here. They're not here on our McKay's thing that we bought. I'm going to go in here and check the tea. Well, I asked him to go out there and look through his truck, and here they are. He did forget to get them out. They slid back behind some things. But this is Artist magazine. I thought I would just look through it. I love magazines, and you know I like older ones, so it doesn't matter. This one's from 2021. They have some good ideas in them. And if I had the space, I would keep a lot of magazines, but I don't have the space. But I'll look forward to looking through that and reading it. Here's the little soups book from the herb garden at Fioli. This little thing was free. You know, I love soups. What can be more tempting than the aroma of homemade soup slowly simmering on the back burner? Whether served steaming hot or refreshingly chilled, soup can satisfy any need and fit any season. Cold soups using fruits, herbs, and spices, garlic, fresh vegetables, and sour cream or yogurt can be a memorable beginning or the start of a meal. Richer, thicker soups may be made with pastas, beans, herbs, and chunky vegetables. Can be an entree served with a fresh salad and thick slices of herbed cheese bread. All of these soup recipes are easy to make and in many instances can be adapted to suit individual tastes. The delicate blend of basic flavors is enhanced by the use of herbs. If you grow your own, fresh herb leaves can be chopped and incorporated into broth and add taste during final simmering, and then removed. All of the soup recipes have been created using Fioli's herbs, then tested by the Garden Shop Workshop. Experiment with your own versions of these recipes, remembering that dried herbs are 4 times as strong as fresh herbs. Taste, and taste again before adding additional herbs for the flavor you love best. And then it says Soup Zone. And I thought it might have a date in here that might tell us how old this book is, but it does not have a date that I can see. But it looks really interesting. I'm looking forward to trying some of this stuff in here. Strawberry soup. My little granddaughter would love that. And it's just got some different ones. You never know. You might find something you really want to try. There's a dealed green bean soup. Gazpacho. Shallot and tarragon. Grecian Bay Laurel. It's just got a lot of different soups in here. So we'll try some of these and see what that turns out to be like. That was in the little free pile. Another Artist magazine. Just a few of them here. Here's Abby's 20th anniversary cookbook, 1976 to 1996. And that looks like a historic cookbook, so couldn't pass that up. It was in the free pile. And let's see. $19.96. So here you go. Here's some. I find that these gathered cookbooks with different recipes from different areas have some really good recipes. So I'll pick that up. And so there's a soup cookbook and a little 20th anniversary cookbook. And here's a North Carolina. My pop socket popped off. So it's a North Carolina driver's handbook. You don't see many in print, it seems like, anymore. It's from the Department of Motor Vehicles in North Carolina. And so I picked this up so that I could just refresh it and have it on hand because you don't see many anymore. And my son and I were talking about it. It just seems like people don't know the rules of the road anymore. It just seems like, people are driving crazy, and you wonder, have they even read that handbook? Do they even know how to drive? But anyway, I picked that up just to have it on hand in case somebody wanted to browse through it. I'm going to go in here and see if the tea's ready. I know I told you I'd do that a while ago, but I'm going to go do it now. See if the water's ready for the tea. It's 11:40 at night, so I can't drink too much of anything but chamomile or something lightly, lightly caffeinated. This is no caffeine in it at all. but I couldn't drink anything if it was heavily caffeinated. I wouldn't be able to sleep. I'm going to let that steep for a few minutes. I'm going to have that cup of tea so that I can sleep. I'm going to go ahead and make Donald's coffee for the morning because he'll be getting up looking for that in the morning. And I'll have to have it ready for him or he'll be a little late. I'm trying to make his own coffee while he's getting ready for work. Well, I am going to video tomorrow. I'm going to show you the daffodils. They have popped out like crazy. Everything around here, the Bradford pears, the peach trees, a lot of things are just busting out in bloom around here because we've had a few warm days. And I'll take you out there and show you the daffodils tomorrow and let you know what's going on tomorrow. I'm going to go ahead and drink this tea. Tomorrow is my day off. I don't have any kids tomorrow. My grandchildren have been on spring break last week, so they had a spring break here at home, and I have more time with them, and summer will be here before we know it, and so they'll be here. That's really good. They'll be here more. You know, when summer's here, I'll have them more times, but I'll try to fit in more videos. We were just so busy this week, and it was never an appropriate time to pick up the camera on our cookout and our sleepover with the grandkids and then date day. But I wanted to just let you know what I've been up to. There'll be more videos coming out on a regular basis as soon as I can get them out. Thank you for joining me. And like always, until next time.